briefcase, coffee, drone, keys. Let's get to work. The time's come. Another industrial revolution has come, and thanks to Joseph Chen and Justin Faulkner, you are at the helm. To concentrate the idea of this game down, players are presented with a giant deck of cards and given the enticing and ambiguous task of being the most efficient. It's a dice placement and tableau building game where players are building cards in front of them to produce their factory, which will in turn make goods, which will in turn win them the game. There's 3 resources in this game. There's blueprint cards, which can be used to build other buildings or to hire specialists or be turned into buildings themselves. There's metal, and then there's energy, all of which can be generated through either buildings or the starting tile that all players are given. At the start of a player's turn, they choose to either take a free blueprint from the corresponding row, or they spend a blueprint card to activate one of the specialists from the separate deck and row. Right off the bat, you're presented with a choice. Do you take the blueprint that can become a building or used as a resource, or do you hire one of the powerful specialists to give you a big one-time benefit? It's a question you'll be asked over and over as this happens every round. It's a quick decision that could have lasting consequences. The fact that it is a quick decision is great. And it's great because that means that everyone's turn is comprised of one simple decision that they have to make. That is until the next phase. And simultaneously, players roll their dice, and these dice represent workers that are going to a steady job where they can earn a paycheck every 2 weeks and they can get health benefits so that they can support their family as they need to, and in the process, they can lose their soul to the machine that you've built up over the course of the game, in which you're forcing them to go to work every day. But hey, you gotta get those goods, right? Now, all players start with a board that can be used to generate blueprint cards, energy, or metal. These starting spots allow players to get up and moving with very little drag at the beginning of the game. This was an issue with Machikoro, which is a similar type game in which you're also building a tableau and rolling dice. However, by having that simultaneous action selection and each individual player having their own dice, there's never a turn that goes by where it feels like you can't do anything. After the first couple of rounds, all players should have at least a semblance of a working factory that they can then use to produce goods or buildings. And there's so little downtime with this game. The individual player turns that aren't taken simultaneously are quick, and with ever-changing information, you're going to want to know what type of buildings your opponents took, as well as gear up for when you have to make the decision yourself. As the rounds progress, you've hopefully built up options for yourself. A lot of the cards are other action spots, so you grow past having to use only your starting dice spots and customize your engine to your own liking. Do you risk needing bigger combinations to get more goods? Do you play it a little safer and build spots that only require one specific single die? Or do you go somewhere in between? There are a lot of different options when it comes to just how you design your engine. You may not even want to end up being the one that ends the game. Perhaps you're fine letting someone else do the legwork while you build up points in other ways, maybe by building prestige buildings that earn large point combos but don't generate goods. And with any game that's going to rely on dice and card drawing, there is an element of luck in it. Now, you're given plenty of options to mitigate that luck, and it's completely up to you how you do that, but there's always going to be that chance that maybe somebody gets hosed by their dice rolls or by the cards that are available to them. Sure, there's options to clear out the market rows, or you can build buildings that'll let you re-roll your dice, but there's always that possibility. Yeah, it really makes me feel like I'm, the smart kid in class that's able to ace tests no problem, and all of a sudden I'm an A+ student, and it's just so satisfying to know that what you're doing and the actions you're taking are doing something, and they're doing something to advance your goal. And I think that's the real gem of this game, is the fact that it is fun, but it's also satisfying. The choices that you make give you options in the future, and right off the bat, every turn, you're able to make a decision that will affect the rest of the game. You aren't sitting around and waiting for things to happen until you can slowly build up your engine. You're presented with a pretty decent engine right off the bat, and what you do to advance that is completely up to you, and there's plenty of ways to explore that. Fantastic Factories is a game that's headed to Kickstarter, and it's one that I am ecstatic to see succeed.